Hi, I'm going to show you how to use your graphical calculator to calculate some statistics. So if you first of all go to menu and then you want to be in the stat mode. Okay, so I'm going to first of all enter some data, and at the minute there's a load of rubbish in there, so I want to get rid of that. So I press F6 until at the bottom I can see delete all. So I'm going to click delete all, F1 for yes, and I'll do that with a couple of columns. There we go, just to clear things up a bit. Right, so in list 1, I'm going to enter a list of data. So you can see here, last year Eleanor played 11 rounds of golf. Here are her scores. So I'm going to put those in. So I'm going to just type away till they're in. Okay, so once they're in there, I need to tell the calculator I'm going to calculate. So press F6 until you're back to the original menu. I'm going to calculate, so press F2, and then I need to tell the calculator where my data are. So I press set, okay, and then I have a single variable data, so I haven't got x's and y's, I've just got x's. So it's 1 var, not 2 var. Okay, so 1 var. Now my x list, my data is in list 1, so that's correct. But I don't have a frequency table. I just had a list of numbers. There's only one of every number. So I change the frequency by pressing F1 to say there's only one of everything. Now I can either exit or execute. And then I press F1 to get 1 var statistics. And there we go. So that's given us the mean. So that would answer the question that's on there. And you can see that the standard deviation is sigma x. So that's 5.3086, etc. Okay. We do not use SX in the A-level course now for OCR. The SX is the sample standard deviation. We do not use it. You use the population standard deviation, which is sigma x, the 5.3. Okay. N is the number of data points. You can also see on this screen sigma x, that's the sum of the x's if we added them up. And then sigma x squared, that's the sum of the squares. So if we squared every number and then added them, that's what it would give us. Okay, so at the top, the mean is 70. Then we've got the sums. Then sigma x is the population standard deviation. N is how many data we've got. And if we go down further, we also get the minimum, quartile, medium, upper quartile, maximum, and the mode. And if there's more than one mode, it lists them. So there are 3 modes, and the frequency of the modes is 2. Okay, there's 2 of each of those. Right, so I'm going to exit. And now I'm going to keep exiting till I get back to the beginning. And now I'm going to enter my next data set. This time I do have a frequency table. So I'm going to delete what I've got just now. So I press F6 till I see delete all. Click delete all, F1. I'm going to enter my number of pets. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to put in the frequencies. So that was 9, 12, 5, 3, and 1. Okay, I'm going to press F6 until I see the original menu. There's calc, and I need to tell the calculator where my data are. So I press set. Again, it's all about one variable. It's all about the number of pets. But this time I have got frequencies, so I'm going to tell the calculator the frequencies are in list 2. Okay, now exit and press 1 var, and there we get our mean of 1.16 recurring and our standard deviation of 1.067, etc. And we can also use the minimum, quartile, median, maximum, and the modes and so on. Okay, right, now we have a slight difference when we come to grouped tables. So I'm just going to move things around a bit so you can see some group data. Okay, so for a start, my groups at the minute have got gaps between them, but it says it's about the length of a road. So that tells me that I should have no gaps between the data because it's continuous. So I'm going to just write on some class boundaries. So halfway between 12 and 13 is 12.5. So I'll just put that on there. Halfway between 15 and 16 is 15.5. And then we get 20.5. So that means at the top end, I'd expect 30.5 because it was rounded to the nearest meter and, kilometer, and 9.5. Okay, so those are my class boundaries. Now, when I'm entering data, I can't enter groups. I just have to enter one number for each table row, column in this case. So for every frequency, there will be a single data point. So I want the midpoints of each group. So halfway between 9.5 and 12.5 is going to be 11. Okay, so I'm going to call that my X. And then halfway between 12.5 and 15.5 is 14. Halfway between 15.5 and 20.5 is going to be 17. Let me just think. 17.5. And then halfway between 20.5 and 30.5 is 25.5. Okay, so before you can use your calculator, or in fact do calculations of statistics for group data, you need to use the midpoints. And what we assume when we're calculating on your calculator is that every single data point within each group is equal to that midpoint. So your calculator is assuming the data looks like this. You've got a single 11, and then you've got 13 14s. Okay, then you've got 20 17.5s. So this is what your calculator thinks is true. Okay, and then finally you'd have 6 25.5s. Okay, now we do that when we're estimating the mean and the standard deviation. So let's do that now. So I'm going to first of all exit and exit until I can delete the data. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to enter my midpoints. Okay, and I'm going to enter my frequencies. All right, and then I exit again. Press F6 until I see the original, press Calc, press Set. I have got my data in list 1 and my frequencies in list 2, and I press 1 var, and there we get our mean, and our standard deviation is 3.82. Now, unfortunately, we cannot use the median and the quartiles, because when we estimate those for group data, we use interpolation. So we assume that all of the data are evenly distributed across the group, just like we do when we're using a histogram. So for the second group, what we assume when we're doing our calculations is that the data are nice and evenly spread out within that group. Okay, but your calculator doesn't assume that. It assumes they're all 14.